Tensions continue in Sudan. A large explosion in central Khartoum was captured on live television. The leader of one of the warring factions, the Rapid Support Forces, said that the group reaffirms its approval of a 24-hour ceasefire. This is to ensure safe passage of civilians and evacuation of those who have been injured. Clashes erupted between Sudan's army and the RSF on Saturday. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that a U.S. diplomatic convoy was attacked in Sudan. Blinken clarified that those inside the convoy were safe and unharmed, but he called the action reckless and irresponsible. The attack comes at a time when Sudan is facing clashes. An 84-year-old white man has been charged with first-degree assault for shooting a 16-year-old. A black teenager, Ralph Yarl, was shot after he mistakenly went to the wrong home to pick up his siblings. This occurred in Kansas City in the U.S. state of Missouri. Prosecutors have said that there is a racial component to the shooting. The teenager is recovering at home after being released from the hospital. Two New York residents have been arrested for allegedly operating a secret Chinese police station in Manhattan's Chinatown. A 59-year-old and a 61-year-old face charges of conspiring to act as agents of the Chinese government. Those arrested are U.S. citizens. This is part of a crackdown on Beijing's alleged targeting of U.S.-based dissidents. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has said that it firmly opposes Taiwan's reported plan to purchase 400 Harpoon missiles from the US. Taiwan will reportedly buy the missiles amidst rising threats from China. On April 7th, the Pentagon had announced an over $1 billion contract of anti-ship missiles, but did not name the buyer. This month, U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy hosted Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen in California. The move angered China. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi has said that Americans and other forces in the region threaten security. He made the remarks during Iran's National Army Day parade. He said, and I quote, "American forces must leave the area as soon as possible. The presence of foreign and adversarial forces in the region threatens security." The parade showcased drones and rockets, including Russia's S-300 defense system. Qatar and the United Arab Emirates are in the process of restoring diplomatic ties and reopening embassies. This comes more than 2 years after Arab states decided to end the boycott of Qatar. Embassies are expected to reopen with new ambassadors by June. Other reports say that diplomatic ties will be fully restored within weeks. In 2017, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, and Egypt severed ties with Qatar. Russian President Vladimir Putin visited military headquarters in Ukraine's Kherson and Luhansk regions. These two regions are partly held by Russia. Putin attended a military command meeting to hear reports from his commanders. Russian forces retreated from Kherson last November, but they have been reinforcing their positions on the bank of the Dnipro River. They are anticipating a Ukrainian counteroffensive. The Japanese foreign minister has said that the Russian threat to station nuclear weapons in Belarus is unacceptable. Yoshimasa Hayashi was speaking on behalf of all G7 diplomats. He added that the G7 countries would step up cooperation over the Ukraine war. They would work to prevent third parties from providing weapons to Russia. Ukraine aims to reopen food and grain transit via Poland. The country has called it a first step towards ending import bans. Poland and Hungary banned some grain imports from Ukraine to help their local agricultural sector. Poland says Ukraine needs help, but the cost of the help should be spread over all European countries.
Maybe let me start by saying that
Slovakia has banned the import of grains and other farm products from Ukraine. However, the country will keep borders open for transit to third markets. Last week, Slovakia banned the distribution of a batch of Ukrainian grain The step was taken after high levels of pesticides were detected in the shipment. Pension reform protesters gathered in central Paris. They interrupted French President Emmanuel Macron while he was delivering a speech on national television. Hundreds of protesters chanted anti-Macron slogans while banging pots and pans. The speech came 2 days after France's new pension reform bill was signed into law. It will increase the retirement age in the country from 62 to 64 years and this is starting this September. A gunman opened fire on a vehicle in East Jerusalem. 2 people have been wounded in the incident. The attack comes days after violence broke out at Al-Aqsa Mosque. Clashes had been broken out between Israeli police and Palestinians. 60 migrants were rescued from 2 boats in the central Mediterranean. They have now landed in the island nation of Malta. This is the biggest arrival of migrants on the island in months. The migrants were picked up by a merchant ship between Malta and Libya. This comes days after a senior Italian politician criticized Malta for failing to rescue people in its search and rescue zone. Nigeria aviation employees have blocked roads to the domestic terminal of Lagos Airport. This comes as they begin a 2-day strike to protest against working conditions and wages. The protesters are threatening to slow traffic and delay flights. Unions representing pilots, engineers and other aviation workers are striking. They have accused the government of failing to implement a minimum wage for the industry. Scientists have found coastal creatures living on plastic debris in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The patch is a collection of marine debris in the North Pacific Ocean. Researchers have found that many species of coastal invertebrate organisms have been able to survive and reproduce on plastic garbage that has been floating in the ocean for years. A drone video has captured the extent of damage left behind by a powerful tornado in the US state of Mississippi. At least 23 people have been killed and 4 went missing. The tornado left a trail of destruction of more than 160 kilometers. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves had declared a state of emergency in the affected areas. Areas in the north of Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, are flooded due to heavy rains. Water levels have been on the rise, but locals are hoping for better weather conditions.
Sudan.
An unknown coral reef with abundant marine life has been discovered near Ecuador's Galapagos Islands. More than 50% of the coral in the reef are living coral. The Galapagos are home to giant tortoises, albatrosses, cormorants, and other species, some of which are endangered. Conservationists have launched a project to create one of England's biggest native woodlands. They've planted 100,000 trees in the Yorkshire Dales in northern England. This is one of the UK's largest ever reforesting projects. It will cover an area equal to over 1,000 football pitches. Consulting giants McKinsey and Bain are delaying start dates for their new MBA hires. Bain is also reportedly paying its hires as much as $40,000 to voluntarily delay their joining dates until April 2024. This comes as companies across the globe are laying off their existing employees. Ernst & Young's US arm has said that it will let go of 5% of its workforce. The layoffs will affect around 3,000 employees in the US unit. According to reports, the layoffs would mainly affect its consulting business. Reports suggest that the decision was taken keeping the overcapacity of the company in mind. Mobile game developer 10 Square Games has said that it plans to cut its workforce by 25%. The developer has also said that it will suspend 2 of its major projects. The company is blaming its actions on the economic situation and an unstable mobile gaming market. Cigarette maker British American Tobacco and e-commerce platform Amazon are under investigation in Italy. They're being investigated over misleading advertising of BAT's tobacco heater. The Italian authorities said that the tobacco heater was incorrectly being marketed as nicotine-free. Amazon has also been included in the investigation because the product is sold on its platform. According to media reports, state-owned China Mobile is planning to buy telecom company Hong Kong Broadband Network. China Mobile has reportedly sent a request for proposal to a small group of banks. It's seeking advice from them on acquiring the telecom company and taking it private. David's Bridal, the largest wedding gown retailer in North America, has filed for bankruptcy. The company is currently seeking to find a buyer for its business. The retailer has flagged that it will be forced to shut down operations if it cannot find a buyer. Elon Musk's SpaceX has called off the debut launch of its Starship rocket. This was done in the final minutes leading up to the launch. It was due to a frozen valve. The company later announced that it's looking to attempt a second launch on Thursday. Italy's data protection watchdog is ready to allow the return of ChatGPT by April 30th. This is on the condition that ChatGPT maker OpenAI takes useful steps to address the watchdog's concerns. Last week, the data protection body sent out a list of demands. One of its many demands required OpenAI to inform users of the methods and logic of collecting necessary data. Public broadcaster Canadian Broadcasting Corporation has said that it will pause its Twitter activities. This comes after the social media platform labeled the company's Twitter account as 69% government-funded media. In the past weeks, Twitter attached similar labels to other media organizations like America's National Public Radio and the UK's BBC. A teenager from Ohio has died after overdosing on 14 Benadryl tablets. 13-year-old Jacob Stevens did this as part of a viral TikTok trend called Benadryl Challenge. The Food and Drug Administration in the US has for years warned about overdoses because of the viral trend. This comes as TikTok faces mounting pressure regarding minors' privacy and safety on its platform. Rajasthan Royals will host Lucknow Super Giants in match 26 of the IPL 2023. This will be at Jaipur's Savai Mansingh Stadium tomorrow evening. Sanju Samson's Royals will head into the match on the back of their third successive win. Meanwhile, KL Rahul-led Lucknow Super Giants are fresh from their second defeat of the season. Rajasthan Royals have won 4 out of 5 games and the Super Giants have won 3 out of 5 matches so far. The match will begin at 7:30 p.m. IST tomorrow evening. Royal Challengers Bangalore batsman Virat Kohli has been fined 10% of his match fee for breaking the IPL Code of Conduct. Kohli has been fined for his conduct during his team's match against the Chennai Super Kings last evening. The cricketing body has not specified the incident Kohli was charged for. However, the fine possibly came because of Kohli's exuberant celebration of CSK batsman Shivan Dube's wicket. England captain Ben Stokes has been named leading cricketer in the world in the latest edition of the Wisden Cricketers' Almanac. The 31-year-old all-rounder guided England to 9 wins in 10 tests. Stokes also played a vital role in England's T20 World Cup final win against Pakistan in November. Separately, Harmanpreet Kaur became the first Indian women's player to be named among the 5 cricketers of the year. Moving on to football, Liverpool have won for the first time in 5 English Premier League games after thrashing Leeds 6-1 late Monday evening. The Reds hadn't tasted victory in more than 6 weeks since routing Manchester United 7-0. Manager Jurgen Klopp has hailed what he called Liverpool's best performance of the season. They remain 8th in the standings, 2 points behind Brighton. Spanish football giant Barcelona's president, Joan Laporta, has defended the club in a bribery scandal. He said that all payments made to a company owned by a senior refereeing official were transparent. Laporta added that the payments were made in exchange for advisory services and not to gain any illegal sporting advantage. The club is accused of making payments of about $8 million from 2001 to 2018 to firms owned by referee Jose Maria Enriquez Negreira. Brazilian football player Dani Alves has said he had consensual sex with a woman who accused him of sexual assault. According to Alves' lawyers, the 39-year-old ex-footballer appeared before the judge handling the investigation on Monday at his own request. Alves has been jailed without bail since January 20th. Lazio forward Ciro Immobile got into a car crash in Rome last night. He fractured his rib and hurt his back. He's under observation in a hospital. Immobile was traveling with his two daughters in the car. The 33-year-old forward told the police that a tram ran a red light before hitting his vehicle. Immobile has scored 10 Serie A goals this season to guide Lazio to second in the standings behind leaders Napoli. Aston Martin's F1 team principal Mike Krack has admitted that closing the gap between his team and Red Bull is a tough challenge. Krack acknowledged that Aston Martin have shaved off 1.5 seconds of their deficit to Red Bull over the winter, but they now have less scope to improve further. Red Bull are the current leaders of the championship. Novak Djokovic has admitted his right elbow was not in ideal shape ahead of the Supska Open in Bosnia this week. The Serbian is looking to bounce back from a setback that saw him exit the Monte Carlo Masters in the third round. He was defeated by Italy's Lorenzo Musetti. Djokovic says he will be fit enough for his Banja Luka Challenger opener against Luka van Arsch despite the setback. Philadelphia Eagles Jalen Hurts has become the highest paid player in America's National Football League history. The development comes after the quarterback agreed to a 5-year, $255 million contract extension. The deal includes the first no-trade clause in Eagles franchise history and $179 million guaranteed. This includes $110 million on the signing of the deal. K-pop singer JHope is set to begin his mandatory military service in South Korea. With this, JHope becomes the second member of the band BTS to enlist in the service. The 29-year-old shared the news with his fans and wrote that he will be back later. All members of the band are expected to complete their training by 2025. A song generated by artificial intelligence has cloned the voices of musicians Drake and The Weeknd. The song, titled Heart on My Sleeve, has gone viral on streaming platforms. The song's creator goes by the name of Ghostwriter. It was taken down due to copyright concerns. Composer Andrew Lloyd Webber dedicated the final Broadway show of The Phantom of the Opera to his late son. Webber's son, Nicholas Lloyd Webber, died in March after an 18-month battle with cancer. The Phantom of the Opera closed on Broadway after a 35-year run. Eric Clapton is bringing back his Crossroads Guitar Festival after 4 years. The charity festival will take place in Los Angeles on the 23rd and 24th of September. More than 40 bands and musicians are set to perform at the festival. Tickets will be available online from Friday. Rapper Macklemore has joined the Mobilize Recovery event. He will perform at the event in Washington, D.C. on the 19th of September. Mobilize Recovery is an annual event that helps families and individuals end addiction and overdose. It will be held between the 17th and 19th of September. Russia has announced the release date of its first ever feature film shot in space. The film is titled The Challenge. It will be released this month in Russia, Serbia, and some parts of Ukraine that Russia controls. The film was shot in space in 2021 over a course of 12 days. Streaming giant Netflix has dropped the trailer of a docu-series on late actor Anna Nicole Smith. The documentary is titled Anna Nicole Smith, You Don't Know Me. It shows unseen videos and interviews of the late star. Smith died of an accidental drug overdose in 2007 at the age of 39. The documentary will release on the 16th of May. Indian origin filmmaker Leena Khan is set to direct a Bollywood-inspired comedy film. Based on Bollywood dance competitions, the film is titled Best of the Best. It'll see comedian Hasan Minhaj in the lead role. The film is backed by Amazon Studios. The Tribeca Festival-winning film Land of Gold gets a theatrical release. The film will have a limited theatrical release on the 5th of May. Soon afterwards, the film will be available on streaming platforms from the 15th of May. The White Lotus actor F. Murray Abraham has been axed from comedy series Mythic Quest. The 83-year-old actor was fired after complaints of alleged misconduct with actresses on the sets. The makers gave Abraham a warning after the first complaint. He was fired after a second complaint.